Alrighty guys, welcome back to another Endgame video, and in this video and also the next video, what I want to do is I want to start talking about Bishop versus Rook endgames. Now, of course, whenever you're in this endgame, it is beneficial to indeed have the Rook. You definitely don't want a Bishop in this endgame because Rooks can go to all the squares. This Bishop can only go to half the squares, and also I'm going to be going over the good corner and the bad corner, but I say that lightly because even though this is the common terminology that people use whenever they teach this concept, you definitely don't want your king in any corner. This is just if you are forced to, if they push your king in a corner, which corner would you prefer? And the answer to that is, well, first of all, what is the good corner? I'll give you guys the definition, and it's going to sound weird, but then I'll tell you guys what the heck I'm talking about. So if, as black, you're forced to move into a corner, the corner that you want to be in is the one whose square is a different color than the squares that your bishop travels on. All right, what the heck does that mean? Well, you see that this is dark square bishop. It can only go on the dark squares. So therefore, the corners that your king would want to be on is either A8 or H1. You see that these are both light squares. The bad ones, of course, would be A1 or H8. All right, so simple enough. I want my king on a different color square than the one that my bishop travels on. But why? Why is that the good corner? Why does it even have a name? Well, I'll show you guys that right now. The reason that this is called the good corner is because whenever this rook, let's say, makes a move like this and puts your king in check, what you can do now is you can actually defend by moving your bishop to block it. Now, there's two key points. You can also do this if your king is in the bad corner. However, if your king was, let's say, in a bad corner and your bishop moved in front to protect it right here, then the rook could just slide over and take it and your king couldn't defend against it. Now, if the bishop would just go ahead and, the rook would just go ahead and take this bishop, now you can just go ahead and recapture and it's a draw. So that is the key point to take away. And another thing I want to, let's see, what move am I going to delete? This one right here. Another key point in this position is, all right, let's go back. All right, white gave check, black blocked it with their bishop. Now white at this point in time, they cannot move anywhere on the 8th rank without themselves being captured or the game ending in a stalemate. Why is this? Well, let's just say that white moves, say here, a waiting move. Well, now black has no moves. They can't move their bishop away or else the king would be in check. It's illegal. They also can't move their king anywhere. So therefore, white has to move away. Now, of course, it doesn't want to move here or else it's just going to be captured by the bishop. So let's just say it moves back here to F3. All right. Now it brings me to another key point that I want you guys to take away in this video, and that is, as soon as you are out of a potential check right here from the rook, as soon as that happens, you want to get your bishop away from the king. All right, sounds interesting. Usually you want your pieces close to the king so they can protect it, but I'll show you guys what happens if your bishop is there when it doesn't absolutely need to be. So let's just say you moved your bishop here and maybe the rook, I don't know, it just moved over here, random moves. I'll show you guys what happens when you move your bishop next to your king unnecessarily. So let's just say, okay, we'll just go ahead and do this in case, maybe we're preparing for a check right here. Well, now white has a very sneaky move, and that is taking the rook and sliding it over to A3. So now the king can't move to any of these squares. Obviously, they're controlled by the king and the rook in this case. So black's only move is to block and also give check with this bishop. However, at this point in time, what white can do is they can just capture that with their rook on A7. So again, that is why you never want to move this bishop to the square right next to your king unless absolutely necessary. And by absolutely necessary, I mean if your king is in check. So those are the definitions of good square and a bad square, and that is why it is a good square. In the next tutorial, I'll show you guys what happens in the bad squares, and it's a little bit more complex than just not being able to recapture. So I'll show you guys some cool techniques, but for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.